Gorillas Part 1. The poor lived in high-rise cages. They were let out to work. They returned dutifully before curfew. They received food rations, limited personal use electricity, and free, unlimited access to government-subsidized entertainment. They were mostly dirty, tired, and sick, and they were therefore aesthetically displeasing. Or at least that's what Edgar Burroughs thought, standing on his penthouse balcony and looking out over the city, including at the new high-rise cage that had become a total eyesore on his view. He wasn't naive. He understood the purpose of the poor, but seeing them, "Come take a look at this," he called to his wife. She was tending to the second male offspring they were growing in their state-of-the-art external uterus, the Inuteron 7010, with built-in gene editing capabilities. "What is it?" "They're fornicating again," he said. She stepped onto the balcony with a pair of binoculars. Disgusting. Like apes, but without the dignity of being incapable of better. She watched for a while, before letting her gaze drop to a cage unit below, where a man and woman were crying over an infant's corpse and fighting to keep others from taking and eating it. Find out what happens next in Part 2. Below that, a government disinfection crew was spraying a group of naked poor with chemical cleaner and fungicide. Edgar first heard about Kibu, a reality-filtering sensory enhancement implant, from a work colleague. "Yes," said the colleague, "it makes life so much more pleasant. Before Kibu, I didn't like going downtown anymore. I mean, the police do a good job of clearing away unwanted elements, but some always evade. And I don't want my wives seeing vagrants, addicts, or low earners when we're going out for a night at the ballet. With Kibu, they don't have to. I select what I don't want to see and snap, just like that, erased from view. Garbage, people, whatever." "And anybody can get this?" Edgar asked. "Completely white-zoned. They follow all anti-discrimination laws." "It costs $1 million? For now. The price will increase once it catches on. And Ed, believe me, it will. This is the next best thing to physical elimination. Like their slogan says, welcome to a new and better reality." Find out what happens next in Part 3. The procedure was performed at Kibu's private health facility. Afterwards, Edgar and his wife were warmly greeted by Kibu's owner, Simeon Gall, who demonstrated how the tech worked. He turned on a screen, which was showing a news story about some kind of low-earner revolutionary who was such a coward he always wore a gorilla mask. "So unseemingly primitive," Edgar's wife commented. Then Simeon powered up the Kibu, and the gorilla-masked brute, as if by magic, disappeared. The sound of the broadcast was so pleasingly altered that it was impossible to tell if the news story was even about the revolutionary. It was as if he'd vanished from existence. Find out what happens next in Part 4. Life became beautiful then. Edgar was driven along pristine streets to the office building in which he worked, in front of which no one ever begged. He walked from the car to the building's entrance, hearing only the nice and idle chit-chat of his class peers, rather than the incessant grouching and grumbling of the poor, or worse, the political chants of would-be protesters before the police came to beat and drag them away. Those would always be such a downer. The sidewalks were often smeared with blood for weeks, but not anymore. No beggars, no poor, no protesters, no lingering marks of violence, and of course, no more high-rise cages, which meant that the view from Edgar's balcony was no longer imposed upon by depressive sights. And if he and the wife ever did want to sneak a peek at how the lower class was living, they could change Kibu's settings, get out their binoculars, and have a perfectly controlled viewing. Find out what happens next in Part 5. It therefore came as no surprise when time proved Edgar's friend right. Soon everyone Edgar knew had a Kibu. His colleagues, friends, family. People exchanged settings, proudly showed off the tech, and coexisted in the vibe of just how much more charming and delightful life now was. Edgar, his wife, and their 2 children were seated at the dinner table, eating when the doorbell rang. "Odd," said Edgar. "Are you expecting anyone, honey?" "The only person I'm expecting is right here," she answered, smiling and caressing her faux pregnant belly. The Inuteron 7010 hummed. Edgar opened the door, but no one was there. Strange. He sat back down. They ate. Then the Inuteron 710 began suddenly to beep. Beep, beep, beep. Edgar ran to it. "It looks to be unplugged." "How? Anyway, plug it back in. Quick," said his wife. But he couldn't. The machine's cable was missing the end plug. Find out what happens next in Part 6. The door opened. A window broke, followed by another, followed by the hissing whoosh of warm, unair-conditioned air, which caused the curtains to billow like ghosts. A door slammed shut, but nobody walked in the open front door. "Dad," said Edgar's older child. The Inuteron 7010's beep suddenly became a wailing alarm. "Plug it in," Edgar's wife was repeating. "Ed, or we'll lose the baby. Come on, don't let's." She was levitating, feet a foot off the floorboards, choking out not words exactly. She couldn't close her mouth. They were just sounds, bass, guttural, animal sounds, of terror. Edgar felt a sudden intense pain in his back, near his spine. He stiffened, shook. The pain proceeded through his torso. Find out what happens next in Part 7. His wife's feet hung lower to the ground as her neck opened like a sock puppet's mouth, blood pouring down her chest. Edgar felt there was a tunnel in him, a passage radiating pain that his brain could not even process. His wife's headless body collapsed to the floor. Edgar dropped to his knees, bleeding. A figure in a gorilla mask materialized before him. It pulled the mask off, revealing Simeon Gall. He was holding a massive drill, audibly dripping human flesh. "Welcome to a new and better reality," he said. "Follow for more horror stories."